Shalom, shalom. First, I want to start by giving infinite praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, for qadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule well and teach well through 100% truth and sincerity. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect, which in is the Israelite foreigners that were scattered amongst. To you and only to you, I say shalom. Jumping straight into it, this is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that ye be not troubled. For all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And yet, Yahawah bahasham yahawashi is forewarning us of the things that are coming, the things that are occurring right here, right now, in the land of Americas right now, okay? And ultimately, the times that's what's about to be elevated, you should hear of wars. If you've been watching the news, you have been seeing the elevation of wars being spoken on. You're seeing the different occasions on how they're speaking on the different earthquakes. We're looking into those information, okay? Starting to see that Russia are sending it off and shooting off their Poseidon missiles, from their nuclear submarines, okay? And these things have been causing a spike of, the president to send out different, send out the Air Force, the different submarines into that area. Well, guess what? Some of these things which you're seeing in the news and in your in your articles and things of that nature are all false flag operations, okay? And not all of them, because some of them could be going on, right? So this is why you have to be preparing yourselves on the things that are going to be said, because some of these things will be wars, between two places. Like you could see Israel and Palestine going back and forth. You're seeing the different nations join hand in hand with them to elevate the wars, or to elevate them or to either stop them, right? But what the Lord is telling you in these times, that nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquake in diverse places. And this is what is going on. There are different places out here that are suffering from famines. If you looking and seeing, in the Gaza Strip, they're dealing with lack of resources. Okay, they're dropping paper towels and food and water, from planes. Truly being the ones that's causing these problems, but ultimately trying to say, oh, we're the ones that are saving you from this problem. But understand that Yahawah bahasham yahawashi is not an author of confusion. He's the one that is forewarning you of these different things that are going on. And understand that, man, it's like you're in the best movie with the best climax going on right now. You have your protagonist, you have your antagonist. One's for the truth, right? And one is against the truth. But the thing is understanding that two sides that are fighting in wars that are being funded by the same person. And this is the thing. Yahawah bahasham yahawashi is telling you that to see these nations rise against nations, okay, and kingdoms against kingdom, and the famines and the pestilence and the earthquakes in diverse places. These are the scourges or the plagues that the Lord Yahawah bahasham yahawashi said he will send unto these people. Okay, because remember, destruction is for the wicked. Okay, and these heathen nations know not the things that are of our Lord and Savior, Because what? He have made known these things unto who? Jacob, the 12 tribes, man. You know? And it has resonated with us to prepare for these times. So jumping back into Matthew 24, verse 8, it says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you. And ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. So yeah, man, this is the preparation for them to continuously keep, you know, the people distracted, okay? Through their entertainment sources, through the different false flags that are going on. Because on these social sites or the platforms that everyone so-called have a voice to speak on, right? They have been posting up false news, you know, certain things that are going on, you know, has not been going on, right? But the Lord is telling you that who is the enemy. You know, it's showing forth who our enemy is, okay? And this is why the Lord had to shorten the days, okay? And if you're paying attention, the days have been getting shorter and shorter. The weeks have been getting faster and faster, right? But the things is, they're not understanding that tribulation is what is about to hit this place. You know, you're seeing the wars, you're seeing the pestilence, the famines, the earthquakes in diverse places, because that is a major point. Earthquakes are going on in all different places around the world, and it's going on a daily basis, right? But the things is, you're seeing also them sending out their ICE agents to detain people. One of the newer news posts that I have seen and looked into, that one of the detainees, which in the ICE have grabbed up, were hung, you know? So all these things show their perpetual hatred for the tribes, man, you know? Because who are they targeting? You know, they're targeting the northern kingdom, and ultimately their eyes are set upon the southern kingdom also. But Jake not gonna hear these things and not gonna understand these things until the Lord starts to put a lot of you Jakes to death, man. You know, while the warning was going out, you know, they don't understand, because what? They hearken not unto the true living power. Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi is forewarning you that great tribulations are coming. You know, all these right now that you're hearing on is the beginning of sorrows. Just imagine once, you know, that virgin daughter of Babylon, you know, gets hit. You know, what is the people, the masses, gonna do? They're gonna run into their gods, run into their powers, right? Which is not gonna be able to save them in that day. Okay, Matthew 24 and 21. For then shall great tribulations, such as was not since the world. Matthew 24 and 21. For then shall great tribulations, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Right? You're going to see a time period within it's going to be something you have never seen before. Okay? You're going to see, you know, Esau dropping off, you know, their robot dogs, right? You're going to see the charagma being elevated to an extent within no man will be able to buy it for selleth. Okay? You're going to see the bodies laying in the streets. You're going to see the emergency services be shut down. Okay? You're going to see all type of different things, including the Lord raising up the spiritual realm, you know, having apparitions, you know, having apparitions bring true fear upon you. If not, put you to death, man. You know? But these are the things within that's about to come upon this place. And this is why the Lord is telling you that except those days should be shortened, there shall no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Because what? The Lord is going to plague this place. You know? He's going to bring pestilence. He's going to bring plagues, famine, death, destruction, scourges. Yet all these things shall hit the wicked. But they're not taking heed because what? Their eyes were blinded, and the things that the Lord has spoken was irrelevant unto them. Okay? And this is about the fear. You know? You have to, fear the Lord, because the things that are being spoken on, it's about to come. Okay? It's about to hit this place. Barak, chapter 6 and verse 13. It says, separate thyself from thy enemies and take heed of thy friends. And this is what the Lord is orchestrating. You know, the Lord is orchestrating division, so that the ones that are truly hearkening unto the Lord, yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, and if they are true friends, you try that, man. You know, don't just accept any and everything, because what? In that day, you're going to hear a lot of people say, but we are family, right? Be banging at your door. They need food for their kids, right? They need water for their own mouths, you know? They need protection from the wicked. Well, the Lord, yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, is giving you that warning now. Before earthquakes, hit your doorstep, before plagues come upon your people, but before pestilence come into your household, before famines hit you, your kids, your family, what shall you be doing? Okay? Should you not be seeking out the Lord now, preparing yourselves for the times that's about to come? And this is something that Jake always look right past, man, because the Lord is telling you to do these things, to look for and hasten in the day, right? But like the Lord said, man, what is that day? What is that day unto you? It should be a day of darkness, gloominess, death and destruction. Even though the Lord is bringing salvation for his elect, the majority or the world will be cut off, okay? Because what? They're going to follow after the different spectrums that Esau, Edom pushed forth, including wanting to fight in these wars, to stand up and protect their community, right? But this is what the Lord said. 2 Esdras 15 and 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And nations shall rise against one another with swords in their hands, for there shall be no constancy with the people. And when one overpowers the other, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and practice violence in all their dealings. And this is what's about to go around, man. This is what's going down right now. But it shall be elevated, okay? And it says, continuing on, so that when a man desireth to go into the city, he shall not be able. And yeah, man, and you're not preparing to have different cities and states locked down, because everyone thinks that it's gonna be all peaches and cream. But the Lord is telling you that he's sending the sword, man. Which in the modern day sword is what? The guns with thermonuclear capabilities, man. And it's gonna destroy, a lot of these people. And this is why the Lord forewarned you that their destruction draweth nigh. And he's gonna use the wicked to destroy the wicked. Okay? And it says, 2 Esdras 15 and 17, so that when a man desireth to go into the city, he shall not be able. For because of their haughtiness, the cities shall be troubled, their houses full of fear, and the people shall be affrighted. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of lack of bread, and for great tribulation. And this is what's about to come down, man. You know? And yahawah still is showing his tender mercy, man, for warning you of these things that are about to come. You know, are you preparing for when, you know, your neighbor turns his back on you? You know, you're going to have foes of your own household, man, that cause of you to be put up and you know, sent to concentration camps. Some of you will they cause to be put to death, man. You know? So what do? You prepare yourselves with the words of the Lord, the words of prophecy. This is our comfort, okay? And the Lord knows, you know, how to save, you know, us out of this estate, okay? And he's going to deliver us, okay? This is a 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 1. Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with garments of sackcloth and hair, and bewail your lands, and mourn, for your destruction draweth nigh. You know, these are warnings from the Lord. You know, he's bringing destruction upon Babylon, you know, Asia, modern day Sodom and Egypt, you know, Iran, Iraq, you know, Israel on the land of Israel, Palestinians' land, right? The Lord's bringing these destructions. But all people say, oh, it's just the people that are causing destruction, you know, or the military. But the Lord Yahawah is orchestrating and uprising this battle, you know, elevating it into a point wherein they cannot turn back, okay? And he said, a sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back, right? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench or extinguish it? So once these things get ramped up, there's nobody that's going to be able to turn back that nuclear strike, right? Or the thermonuclear fire that the Lord is orchestrating in this place. You know, you're gonna have nuclear strikes everywhere, you know, causing everyone to be in fear. You're gonna have the chariots, because when Yahawah cracks those clouds, right? He's coming back with a fleet of angels, shooting flames of fires from the chariots, which in the world calls UFOs. But the warning that's gone out is so hard to be accepted until destruction is at your doorstep, right? And it says, all manners of evil is sent unto you, and who may drive it back? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood? Or may any one quench the fire in stubble when it have begun to burn? You know, this is what Esau has been showing you, man. Different wildfires, you know, and just like the fire that have taken place in the Grand Canyons, you know, it burned up 126,000 acres, you know, and Jake barely has an acre of land. You know, so just imagine, who shall quench these things? Who shall extinguish these things? Once the Lord ramps up the fires that are going to be brought upon this place, destruction shall be everywhere. Once the chaos, you know, the ravishing, the looting, you know, once the martial law troops come in, what are you going to do? You know, who shall you turn to? Or who shall you run to? You know? It says, may one, 2nd Esdras 16 and 7, may one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? The mighty Lord Yahawah, bahasham, sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? The wrath of the Lord, the indignation of the Lord, the righteous anger of the Lord is about to hit this place. But Jakes are so focused on the world, lost in the iniquities that have been fulfilled, right? And it says, he shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? And he shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? And these are different ways that the Lord has been, causing great deaths around this place, man. Lightnings, thunders, fires, right? Different plagues, different pestilences, right? And it says, the Lord, Yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? So when he shows up, who shall truly not be afraid? Only the elect will not be afraid. Even though it's going to be a fearful time to be in, the Lord, Yahawah is preparing us for those times, right? And it says, jumping down, to 2nd Esdras 16 and 40, it says, O my people, hear my word, make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. We're about to come into a time wherein our household is going to be doing all type of things, that the Lord is going to raise us up to be pilgrims, right? Continuously moving, seeking the Holy Land. We're going to have to go into the wilderness again. You never know where the Lord, Yahawah is going to lead you in that day. But you better be paying attention and watching the signs, okay? Man, judgment is about to hit this place. I don't want to beat the a dead horse, but prepare, man. Prepare for the scourges, the fires, the plagues, the death, destruction. Just remember, like Esdras said, man, in 2nd Esdras 16 and 17, he says, woe is me, who shall deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mourning, the beginning of famine and utter ruin, the beginning of war, and the mighty shall be afraid, the beginning of calamity, and all shall tremble. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plagues, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. And yet they're not mindful, man. They're not paying attention, and they definitely do not consider who is truly orchestrating all of this. So in that day, they shall be caught like a thief in the night. And Yahawah is bringing all these things for the wicked. So put on as the hopeful elect, right? Especially those that the Lord has ordained to do so. So I want to end off by saying, Kal Halalyam, yahawah, bahasham, yahawashi, bahasham, qadash, shanya kaba, gawala rakwab, zakwanyanao ba'aith. And remember, man, things about to be uplifted. Things about to ramp up. Prepare, man. Use the truth and apply it. Use the gifts that the Lord has given unto us and prepare for that day. Okay? Build your faith up now. Don't wait until it's too late. So, shalom.